Fernandez very clearly talks about a Francis magisterium, not a Catholic magisterium.
Fernandez and His Holiness Pope Francis have a history. They go way back, don't they?
Absolutely. Both of them knew each other in Argentina. And when the then Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith blocked Fernandez's elevation as rector of the Catholic University, Bergoglio repeatedly interceded for him, and finally the block was cleared and he was elevated. And it's payback for the ill treatment that has been meted out all these years to Fernandez for his heterodox views. But Francis is compensating very generously for that.
Fernandez was investigated essentially by the very office that he now holds. That seems very bizarre. That seems like almost like a conflict of interest, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it was also the dicastery for education that, was very concerned about elevating him as rector of this Catholic university, and they sought the advice of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. And basically, these guys said, well, we have a file on him. He has said a number of things that do not adhere to the magisterium of the church. In 2006, as I pointed out, he wrote an article in an academic journal run by the Argentinian Bishops' Conference, which talked about a Catholic woman actually engaging in an act of charity if she let her husband use condoms, when they were having conjugal relations, provided her husband was not Catholic. And Fernandez said that this would actually enhance the marriage rather than lead to conflict.
So he has a history of questioning doctrine in the church. He has a history of covering up a priest who he committed suicide after it was discovered that he was guilty of sexual abuse of boys. He has a history of looking for opportunities to circumvent doctrine whenever possible. And yet not only is he now the head of the doctrine office in the church, but he's also been announced that he's going to become a cardinal. What are we supposed to interpret from all of that about His Holiness Pope Francis and his decision-making and choosing these people?
Pope Francis very clearly wrote, and this is unprecedented, wrote to Fernandez when he gave him the job. He said, in times past, this department, this office, the Holy Inquisition, as it was then known, engaged in immoral acts to persecute dissenters, but now I expect you to give it a completely new, a new branding. And I don't want you to engage in polemics with scholars, academics who are, on the front line of cutting-edge Catholic thinking. But what I want you to do is be more open and inclusive and actually engage in the development and creation of doctrine yourself. And this is a role. I mean, there are countless theologians all over the world engaged in doing this. Why on earth would you want the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith, which is essentially a watchdog? That is its raison d'etre. Why have you taken away the raison d'etre from this particular department?
This is no longer an office that holds up doctrine, clarifies doctrine. They haven't even responded to the dubia.
Fernandez says that Pope Francis did respond to the dubia in the statement he gave to the Argentinian bishops, basically saying, go ahead, with, in certain circumstances, accepting people in what we would call adulterous relationships. Now, interestingly, he was asked about the ordination of women, and he did not make, he did not open the door there. What he said was, he was very diplomatic. He said, this is something coming out of Germany. But in Argentina, we've not had this problem, and so we have to wait and see. But Joe, what you said about 30,000 denominations now is no longer Protestant, but exists within the Catholic Church. And there are 30,000 denominations among conservative and traditionalist Catholics, let alone the liberals, because what we've done is, we talk about the Protestant misinterpretation of Scripture or the free interpretation of Scripture. Now we have the Catholic free interpretation of the magisterium. Catholics have just kicked the can down the road, and instead of fighting over the interpretation of the Bible, we're now squabbling over the interpretation of the magisterium, which is totally ironic and self-defeating. And one of the reasons is the magisterium is more and more ambiguous on its recent pronouncements. And Fernandez very clearly talks about a Francis magisterium, not a Catholic magisterium, as if a Francis magisterium can be different from a JP2 magisterium, like, Biden's policies are very different from Trump's policies.
Yeah. Do you think in the next conclave that might get corrected?
I don't think so. The signals are, unless there's a miracle, of course, God can do anything. But Francis, as we know, has stacked the deck. There are 99 cardinals now among 137 who have been appointed by Francis. They owe their allegiance to him. They are clones, in a sense. Most of them are clones of Francis. And this sort of Bergoglian thinking is endemic in the Catholic Church today.